When people worry about connectors in CELPIP writing and speaking, they don't have to, because this video will summarize everything. These are some of the best connectors you can use. They're highly advanced and easily usable in actual CELPIP writing and speaking questions whenever you practice them at home. So here's how you start. For example, when it's a cause and effect thing, you can use words like consequently and as a result. Guys, I'm giving you these connectors on purpose this way because they're not just connectors, they're advanced and they have a range. So you see, consequently is a one-worded connector with a ly, which is an adverb, which makes it unique and advanced. As a result is a three-worded connector and it flows really easily. You guys can also see examples with every connector mentioned here. Then let's talk about contrast. When you're saying but or you're showing the other side, you can use words like nevertheless, way better than saying but. Even so. Now here it's a little hard, so let's look at an example. Parking was expensive. Even so, many people chose to drive. So it's like, even if this was the case, despite that, or even so, people still did that. So this does not start a new sentence. Usually it wraps up the idea within the same sentence, but nicely doing it with a good connector, giving you also a complex sentence at the same time because it connects multiple ideas. With additions, you got so many, you can use hundreds of these, but two of my favorite are furthermore and likewise because they're advanced. Number two, they also roll off the tongue very easily when you're speaking, making you sound more fluent. With concessions, so even though, for example, is even though there's this thing, but there's this other thing. So even though I disagreed, I respected their decision. It's like when the one thing was not working, the other thing worked out. It's presenting those two different sides. And you can also use another example here, like despite this, the instructions were unclear, comma, despite this, we completed the task. And in speaking, instead of comma, you simply pause. With despite this, you can also use a new sentence. So you could say that we were not able to shop at all this weekend, full stop. Despite this, we will try again next weekend. So you can start other sentences, new sentences with that as well. With clarification or elaboration, when you're elaborating a point or trying to give more examples, use words like in other words or that is to say. And most people don't use any of these. They just start a next sentence without a thought about flow or, hey, I'm adding to this idea. I should use some connector to build my ideas. People don't do that. And if you do that, you will simply stand out, be unique, and gain all the marks. For emphasis, more importantly or above all, this is again when you are sticking to the same point, but then you have something really important to say. So you're like saying, actually, the more important thing or the most important thing here or something that I want you to pay attention to is, whenever you have those thoughts, you start with words like these. In sequence, you have a lot of things, right? And secondly, next, but you can also use words like initially, of course, when you're starting off the process or the steps, and subsequently is a very good replacement of next. Most people will just say next. You will say subsequently. Consequently is also a good one that could go hand in hand with subsequently. With comparisons, you would use words like similarly if it is something similar to what you have stated, or in much the same way. Once again, you're getting a variety here with a one-worded connector, which is an adverb, and a four-worded connector, giving you a range. The purpose here for me making this video is to not only give you connectors. I have videos on that, and I have many videos on these topics before, but this is a very comprehensive list. It's not overwhelming, and these are things you can actually use. A lot of the connectors you see in the academic word lists are sometimes impossible to use. These are not. So make sure to practice them and use them, and subscribe if you want these effective, no fluff tips from this channel in the future. Talk to you soon. Take care.